Hello, you're listening to City Radio. Once again, I am Nick Mills, and I'm currently at the Cathouse in Glasgow, where the heavy metal band Fozzy have just played tonight as a part of their UK tour, The Madness Returns. Fozzy have been going for 12 years and show no signs of slowing down with their strong, loyal fan base all across the globe. It's an honour and a pleasure to be joined by none other than Fozzy's lead singer, Jericho. Chris, thank you very much for doing this.
Let me just say right now that I'm completely naked while doing this interview.
How did you enjoy this gig? It was amazing to be in the crowd for that.
Yeah, it was probably the best gig of the tour so far. I mean, every time we come to Glasgow, it's always one of those cities when we see it on the tour list that we're excited about. Always a great reaction, lots of energy, so much fun. You know, the crowd has always got their own little chants going on and doing their own little ways to show
some Y2J chants I heard.
Yeah, those are always cool, always welcome, and just everything.
You must get bothered by that though, because I know you've been trying to stay with the Fozzy thing.
Not at all. I mean, I would never. What am I going to turn my back on my legacy at all? I mean, 80-90% of the chants are Fozzy with an odd Y2J one thrown in. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, once in a while we get a Duke chant or a holy shit chant or a Frank chant. The Duke is our guitar player, Rich.
Oh, right.
The Duke is his nickname. So, yeah, man. I mean, as long as people are making noise, we're happy. I mean, if the whole time was Y2J, it would be a drag. But I mean, it starts off as Fozzy and goes through as Fozzy, and then people kind of get tired of that and chant something else for a while. So. That's one of the cool things about coming here. People are always making noise here in Glasgow. Your Scots are a rowdy bunch, for sure.
That's good to hear. Do you think it's different, Scottish audiences compared to English audiences?
Yeah, just that's one reason why we always love coming to the UK is it's not so much trend-based as it is in the States. I mean, people here like what they like, and it's always been that way since the first time we came here in 2004. So it's one of the reasons why we always come back to the UK and we concentrate on playing the UK because it's like a second home for us. And I mean, this is our fourth tour of the UK on this record, on Chasing the Grail. And we don't just concentrate on your Londons, your Manchesters, your Cardiffs. We go everywhere. Yeah. And Glasgow is probably one of the bigger cities we're playing on this tour. Tomorrow we're going to York. Yesterday we were in Nottingham. The day before that we were in Coventry. So we go wherever there are fans to cultivate them and kind of build our fan base here. And like I said, people are just concerned more with music that they want to hear and music that they like rather than what they're being told is cool or uncool or whatever. So this is a great, like I said, like a second home for us. And we'll always play here as much as we can for as long as we're a band.
You've got Denmark as well. What's Denmark like to play in, like Copenhagen?
Well, I mean, European audiences are a little bit more stiff in a way, but we've played some where they just go nuts. I mean, we just started kind of concentrating more in Europe on our last tour in July. And we never actually played Copenhagen yet. We were supposed to play Copenhagen, the home of fucking Lars Ulrich. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be something you've never heard before. This crazy band that just gets wacky all the time. We were supposed to play there with Anthrax, and then I ended up in Copenhagen because I rode on Anthrax's bus. And our bus, the Fozzy bus, had a bus crash.
Oh, shit, yeah, I heard about
the
that.
driver went to sleep, and they kind of overturned, and it was pretty crazy for them. But
it must have been pretty scary because I think one of the former Metallica members.
We were actually talking about that because Anthrax was touring with Metallica at that time, around the same time that Fozzy had their bus crash. So I actually woke up in Copenhagen at the venue, and then 20 minutes later I was on a train going back to Hamburg to meet up with the rest of the band, and all I had was flip-flops and a toothbrush. So how to travel across Europe with only flip-flops and a toothbrush by Jericho. So yeah, we're excited. We're going back to Germany, Copenhagen, Netherlands. So like I said, man, we're just excited to be expanding our market to some of those countries, and hopefully we can get a real foothold there like we have in the UK.
Bit of a trivia question. I saw a Twitter picture of you with James Hetfield. How's he?
Oh, he's great, man. I mean, I met him a couple times, and the first time I met him, I was just a blubbering fanboy fool. James, thank you for the music, and you helped me through a tough time. He's just like, cool, thanks, glad I could help. And then the second time I talked to him for a long time, and he's really cool, man. He's just one of the guys. Just
you met Lars as well.
Yeah, Lars is actually a friend of mine.
People say that Lars is a bit more heavy going than James. Well, just in terms of I think a comedian, Jim Brewer, told this story about the fact that he went out with him once, and Lars was getting really crazy out, whereas James Hetfield.
Yeah, well, James is sober now, so there's a difference. Lars still parties and James doesn't.
Yeah.
But Lars is great. He's very cool, very interested in what you're talking about, and actually he invited me to go to the Metallica 30th anniversary shows that they're playing at the Fillmore in San Francisco in December. So yeah, he's like, would you like to come to see the 30th anniversary shows? And like, it's a small place, like it'll hold 1,000 people. And I'm like, fuck, which one? He goes, come to all of them. I'm like, well, my wife might like that, but I'll come to one of them. So.
Brilliant. You've got is it true that you've maybe got an album coming out next year?
Yeah, and that's not maybe, it's happening for sure.
Oh, brilliant.
We're just this is like the last run on this tour, and then after this we'll be heading back to the States, and then we're going to record a new record that we pretty much are in the stages of writing right now, and we want to do the recording in December, January, February, and have it ready to go for next June, so we can come over here and play all the festivals again. You know, play all the festivals in the UK and Europe like we did last summer, and play even more.
You updated the Enemy video very recently. Are you surprised that that song's got such a great reaction? Because you heard people chanting at the end that they really wanted
I mean,
to hear.
it's cool because it's kind of like our song that's really evergreen. Like, it's been around for almost 7 years now, and people really feel it, and they really relate to that song. And that's one of the reasons why we wanted to kind of do a live video of it, kind of re-release that song, so to speak. It was perfect to add that to the new FozzyRock.com that we just updated a couple weeks ago and kind of relaunched it. And we thought it'd be cool to kind of do another updated version of Enemy, because people love that song. They chant for it, they cheer for it, they know the words to it. So much like, you know, some bands do when they release a live album, they put out a live version of one of their songs as a video, and that's what we decided to do as well with the release of Remains Alive and the release of FozzyRock.com, the relaunch of it. So yeah, it got great response. It really shows kind of the live vibe and the energy of our band, and we have a real reputation for being a really energetic, exciting, dirty word, fun band to see. And I think it's another one of the reasons why we always do so well over here.
You did Sonosphere too. I was actually at Sonosphere. Unfortunately, I missed it because did you know that there was a comedian right next to you?
You went to Bill Bailey instead of us?
I went to Bill Bailey, right?
Oh,
but the sound, I know, I'm sorry. But the sound was so crap for that, so, you know,
what do you expect?
I know. Well,
you chose poorly.
I'm sorry. No, I regretted it because I thought, well, you know, the fact it was so difficult because some of the timings were off as well. But was that a concern, the fact that, you know?
No, we don't care. I mean, it's not like we're up against Slipknot or something like that. I mean, people want to go see Bill Bailey or Beetle Bailey or whoever the hell they want to go to. I don't care. We just went out there and we tore the heads off of all the people that did show up, and there was a lot of them. So I would much rather be clashing with Bill Bailey than with Slipknot or Metallica, or
absolutely,
you know, because there were bands that were clashing with them. So
Rollo Tomasi clashed with Metallica, and I felt so sorry for them.
You're kind of like, you know, why bother?
I know.
Just go up there and press play on a ghetto blaster and go.
How was Sonosphere for you then?
It was amazing. It was the first UK's festival that we had done in years. I mean, we played Download a while back, but we really wanted to come back and kind of, you know, really make our claim and really show everybody who hadn't seen us for a few years what it is that we can do. And I mean, we love playing small stages, we love playing big stages. You know, we know how to command and work both. So to be on a stage like Sonosphere in front of those people with those bands on the same bill, you know, anytime you're playing on a, you know, on a bill with Metallica or Slipknot or Anthrax or Slayer or Motorhead or whatever, it's going to be a plus. And it's also not going to be easy because those bands are machines. But then when you read reviews, I remember I saw one, I think it was maybe in NME or something, that said best bands of the weekend: Metallica, Weezer, and Fozzy.
Wow.
You know, and when you see that, it's really cool because, you know, like, they might have never heard of our band before, but they happen to wander over and check it out, and they, you know, we killed it. So
did you check any bands out while you were there?
Excuse me. No, because I don't really. You know, I watched a few. I watched a little bit of Black Tide and a little bit of maybe Trivium or somebody, I can't remember, but Motorhead a bit. But, you know, we were on later on in the day, so we kind of have a job to do, and I don't really feel like. I mean, it was a big gig for us. It was important.
Yeah.
You know, and we had a lot of press, a lot of schmoozing to do. So, just basically worried about my own gig, and then afterwards we went and watched Slipknot for a while, which was amazing.
Do you find that the audiences are different than with festivals? Because it's more rowdy, that I find. When I went to Sonosphere, I was just amazed at how, like, you know, how amazing, you know, just how
I mean,
crazy it was.
It's rowdy, and the thing is, too, you know, when you're playing your own shows, you're playing to your fans.
Right.
So, you know, tonight, you know, 400, whatever it is, Fozzy fans chanting Fozzy, it's easy. You can go up there and do whatever
you would never know that. With a number, you say 400, and then, you know, they're so rowdy, they're so loud.
Well,
so
that's what I'm saying, but they're all our fans.
Yeah.
They're converted. You're preaching to the choir. Yeah. At a festival, there might be 400 Fozzy fans in a crowd of 5,000, 10,000.
Yeah.
So your job is to win over those people, not to worry about the fans that you already have. It's to win over the people that have never seen you before, and that's why playing those big festivals is very important. We just played the Uproar Festival in the States with Avenged Sevenfold and Bullet for My Valentine, and all these great bands, and we held our own and kind of showed people who it is that we are, and that's why it's important to take that chance and not be intimidated by the size of the audience and not be intimidated by who you're up against as far as who you're supporting or whatever. You got to go out there and kill it as if every night is your show headlining Madison Square Garden.
You also said you toured with Anthrax. Anthrax is such a legendary band. They've been around for so long. As a musician still, do you learn from them? Do
Absolutely.
they give you advice?
You don't have to get advice. Just watch them play.
Yeah.
And that gives you all the advice that you need. Like that band is a great band, and even more so when you see them live.
Absolutely.
That's when you realize just how much power they have and how tight they are and how much of a machine they are in so many ways.
Yeah.
So we learned a lot from Anthrax, and we actually had a great time playing with them, and we'd love to do more shows with them in the future, because I remember going to see Anthrax open for Kiss in 1987, and here we are, in 2011. Now we're opening for Anthrax, so it's probably the same way they felt opening for Kiss is how we feel opening for them. So
it's amazing. I was watching your DVD the other day that WWE released, and you said that Javier Bardem's performance in No Country for Old Men was a big inspiration for you for your latest character that you did there. Does the same apply then to your persona in music? Do you get inspired, maybe lyrics or albums and things like that? Do you work the same way?
Well, obviously I have my influence, and most of my influences in wrestling were musicians. I always wanted to be the Paul Stanley of wrestling, or the David Roth of wrestling. And I know way more about music than I ever did about wrestling. I don't know anything about wrestling trivia or whatever. To me, it was always about that show business entertainment aspect. I wanted to have that in a ring, on a stage, whatever. It's about connecting with the audience, and that's the most important thing. That's when I love seeing, a guy like James Hetfield or Corey Taylor, how they really connect with audiences and get people to come out of their shells and really become part of the show. And you saw us tonight. We demand people become part of the show.
Absolutely.
We don't let them just stand there. And then if I ever see this, it's like, you're in the wrong place, dude. Arms crossed, kind of like that.
I know.
And sometimes you get people like that.
They're kind of like in the middle, aren't they? They're thinking.
Well, that's fine, but you want to have fun at our show, you have to get involved, and that's kind of expected. We should write it on the ticket. So, but that's just part of connecting. You have to connect with your audience, and then the best frontman of all time, the best bands of all time can do that.
Yeah. A lot of people asking if you're ever going to go back to wrestling. I was thinking, are you ever going to get to the point where, for me, because you've been world champion so many times and you've worked there so many times, is there a challenge wrestling anymore? Do you think that there's more of a challenge staying with music?
Well, it's always a challenge. Anything that you're going to do professionally is you have to take seriously. And, for me, I never had any issues with wrestling or issues with the WWE. The simple fact is my contract expired, and Fozzy was really starting to get a lot of momentum after Chasing the Grail came out. And there's a lot of opportunities to do things with this band. We've toured 13 countries on this tour so far, which is the most we've ever done. And there's other opportunities to Dance with the Stars, and my other book came out, and stuff like that. So it just, I've never considered myself just a wrestler. I'm an entertainer, and everything that I do is within the entertainment realm. So I would never deny myself a chance to do something that I feel is a challenge. Also, I've been playing in bands way longer than I was ever a wrestler. My first band, I was 12 years old. My dream when I was a kid was to be in a band and was to be a wrestler, and wrestling took off first, but I still always continued to play in bands. Writing songs and doing demos and jamming, all that sort of stuff. So now that the band is going so good, it's like I'm getting this second dream coming true, and I want to take the band as far as we can go and concentrate as much as I can, and I know wrestling fans get mad at me sometimes for that, but it's tough luck, deal with it.
No, I would think more that, like Fozzy is doing so well at the moment, and you've done everything there is to do in wrestling,
if I never wrestled another match, it wouldn't bother me. It might bother some other people, but it wouldn't bother me. Like, if there was some kind of a cool challenge or some kind of a cool idea that crossed my mind that would shake it up again, then I would think about doing it, in wrestling. So we'll see. I would never say that I'm not coming back, but I have no plans of going back at this point in time.
One of the things, again, I wanted to kind of touch on very quickly, but, you get internet wrestling journalism, and I know that a lot of wrestlers don't like it, a lot of wrestlers refuse to work with it. do you feel that wrestling can work with internet journalism, or do you feel it's...
Well, I mean, of course. I mean, if you're going to go on the internet, you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
You got to take it with a grain of salt. You can't go on there and get pissed off when you read bad comments or good comments or lies or whatever. And that's part of the world we live in. If you don't like it, then don't go on it.
Yeah.
But in this day and age, if you don't go on it, you're a dinosaur. So, I like going on the internet and I get a kick out of it. And some people are cool and some people are dicks. But just stay away from the ones that
there was
are
a story
dicks,
that came out on one of those websites to say that you were in talks to coming back, and I think
they've been saying that since the day I left in September 2010. I've supposed to have come back more times than Jesus Christ at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
So every time it's like, no, it's gonna happen. This is gonna happen. That's gonna happen. There's people convinced that I was gonna go to wherever the show is tonight, SmackDown, Birmingham or whatever. It's like, it's only 2 hours
they're
away.
all touring, aren't
They'll
they?
finish this gig, and it's like, so anyways, it's always good to know that people are interested in what you're doing, and I mean, obviously I'm most known for wrestling, and that's cool. I mean, it's nice to know I made my mark in that respect, and maybe someday I'll go back and shake stuff up again. And until that day comes, I'm happy to do what I'm doing.
Make sure to check out Fozzy's official website, www.fozzyrock.com, or their Twitter page on @FozzyRock, and Chris Jericho's own Twitter page @IamJericho for more information on Fozzy's upcoming tour schedule and any other news. I'd like to thank Chris Jericho for taking the time out to do this interview, and we'll be right back here on City Radio.